In honor of our ancestors, we acknowledge we have forgotten our agreement to share the bounty and gifts of this Eden. We circle back now and begin to remember we have borrowed from our children, from the children of the Kongva people, from the children of the Chumash people, of this land and the water, precious water, life. Our ancestors speaking loudly, we acknowledge the need to remember with gratitude and share.
Thank you, Tantoo, for starting us with that land acknowledgement. We appreciate it. I'm Rochelle Rose. I'm the National Director of Actors Programs here at the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, and thank you all for joining us tonight to honor the poetry of Lucille Clifton. We're thrilled to be collaborating once again with the Geena Davis Institute for Gender in Media and the Clifton House. This is our second annual event, but of course the first time we've done it in person, and it's wonderful to be here with you all and feel this incredible energy of having you all here in the room. So thank you for being here. I want to thank all of tonight's readers for their participation and expertise, and it's my pleasure to introduce a very good friend of the foundation, Madeline di Nonno, who is President and CEO of the Geena Davis Institute of Gender in Media.
Greetings, everyone, and Tantoo, that was just so fabulous. Thank you so much. Really grateful to you for doing that land acknowledgement. And I want to introduce our ASL interpreters. We have Mona Jean Setter, and we also have Zachary Goldstein with us. So in the words, thank you. In the words of our beloved Harry Belafonte, who left us this morning, art in its highest form is art that serves and instructs society and human development. And I think that's really what this is all about tonight. I also want to thank, of course, Rochelle and Sid Wilson, who couldn't be with us, and Janani Sombrarian. We've, of course, Geena's a longtime member of SAG-AFTRA, and the foundation has been with us literally since the beginning, so we're extremely grateful. And we're here to celebrate National Poetry Month, which is April. Woo! And I must say, Sidney had me at hello. We were talking about her job as a phenomenal producer and with Henson and kids and animation, all this stuff. And then she happened to mention that she had just purchased her family home back in Baltimore. I'm like, okay, why? And then she started telling me about her mother, Lucille Clifton. And I thought, oh my God, I'm like, stop, we're gonna do something. Let's do a poetry read. And of course we decided to do this during COVID. So it was virtual, but Isabella Gomez is back with us this year, which we're great. And now we're actually able to do it in person. And it was just such a great way to bring a different aspect of art and representation and authenticity. So last year we did this event virtually. It was so successful that we've decided to make it an annual event. And after we've had an opportunity to hear the readings from our esteemed group of artists, we'll have a little chat with them, and then we do have booze and food at the end, so do not leave. So without further ado, now that's where I get the laughs. Without further ado, I would love to introduce our founder, a chair, and two-time Academy Award winner, Geena Davis.
Thank you. I couldn't hear if she said my name. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you for that. And welcome, everybody. What a great crowd. So happy to see all of you here tonight for a wonderful occasion. I'm a very proud member of SAG-AFTRA for many years. And I want to thank them and thank the foundation for hosting us here tonight. So this evening, as you heard, we will celebrate the life, the legacy, and the work of one of poetry's most renowned poets, Lucille Clifton. She was a prolific and widely respected poet, a writer, a professor, as well as a beloved wife and mother to 6 children. Lucille's poetry examines family life and racism and gender inequality, demonstrating that her work transcends time and continues to inspire people around the world, as you'll hear tonight. And we're going to hear a selection of Lucille's written word read to you by an incredibly esteemed group of artists that have joined us. Thank you all for lending your voices tonight. And I would like to read a short poem also by Lucille Clifton called "I Am Accused of Tending to the Past." I am accused of tending to the past as if I made it, as if I sculpted it with my own hands. I did not. This past was waiting for me when I came, a monstrous, unnamed baby. And I, with my mother's itch, took it to breast and named it history. She is more human now, learning languages every day, remembering faces, names, and dates. When she is strong enough to travel on her own, but where? She will. Thank you so much. And now, over to you, Sidney, to introduce our esteemed artists.
Oh, thank you, everybody. I am so tickled. I'm tickled. My mom would be so tickled today. So thank you all for coming, showing up with your whole selves here this night. Mom once said that we cannot create what we can't imagine. She was a woman whose walk and work were honest, profound, revolutionary, beautiful, and brave. Her work demonstrates the deep power of poetry as self-definition, declaration, manifestation, revelation, and revolution. When my child mother didn't see who she could be, she made it up. And through her work, she made sure that girls and women who knew her work and who came into her space could see who they could be also. I established the Clifton House in her honor to continue the legacy of creative courage and personal proclamation. Our readers today are living examples of art as activism, self-definition as self-love, and poetry as power. Thank you, yes, yes. Back to you. Our first reader, Nicco Annan, stars in Katori Hall's critically acclaimed drama series, P-Valley, which was renewed for its 3rd season on Stars, y'all. Yes. The series follows the community that builds around a strip club in the Mississippi Delta, and Annan plays Uncle Clifford, a role that he has been with since its conception over a decade ago. As a Black gay man playing a non-binary role, Annan defies traditional gender limitations while bringing dignity and grace central to the common humanity of the character he plays. And for his role as Uncle Clifford, he just won the 2023 NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actor in a Drama Series. Yes. Faith, honesty, intuition, and courage come to mind when I think of my mother and her work, and I feel them strongly in this man too, Nicco Annan.
Good evening, everyone. So the first piece that I'm going to read is called The Lesson of the Falling Leaves. The leaves believe such letting go is love. Such love is faith. Such faith is grace. And such grace is God. I agree with the leaves. This second piece is untitled, okay? But it spoke to me because it sounded like my mother, so it may sound like a lot of yours as well. Listen, children, keep this in the place you have for keeping always. Keep it always. We have never hated Black. Listen, we have been ashamed, hopeless, tired, mad, but always, we loved us. We have always loved each other. Children, always.
My goodness, my goodness. Tantoo Cardinal is a celebrated actor of First Nations and Métis descent, with a remarkable record on stage, television, and film. She has been widely recognized for her contributions to the growth and development of Aboriginal performing arts. Having performed in more than 120 roles in almost 50 years, she broke barriers for on-screen representation of Indigenous peoples and has challenged negative stereotypes throughout her career. Her most famous film roles include the multiple Academy Award winner Dances with Wolves, the Academy Award nominee Legends of the Fall, and her US television role on Stumptown on ABC TV. Cardinal has said that it was walking behind her grandmother where she first learned to act. And is this connection to mothers and grandmothers and daughters that deeply resonates in my life and family. Proud to welcome Tantoo Cardinal.
Thank you. My grandmother would be happy to be mentioned. Kind of shy, but. Crazy Horse names his daughter. Sing the names of the women. Sing the powerful names of the women. Sing, White Buffalo Woman who brought the pipe. Black Buffalo Woman and Black Shawl. Sing the names of the women. Sing the power of name in the women. Sing the name I have saved for my daughter. Sing her name to the ties and the baskets, and the red-tailed hawk will take her name and sing her power to Wakontanka. Sing the name of my daughter. Sing. She is, they are afraid of her. The death of Crazy Horse in the hills where the hoop of the world bends to the four directions. Wakontanka has showed me the path men walk is shadow. I was a boy when I saw it. That long hairs and gray beards and myself must enter the dream to be real. So I dreamed, and I dreamed, and I endured. I am the final war chief, never defeated in battle. Lakota, remember my name. Now on this wall, my bones and my heart are warm in the hands of my father. Wakantanka has shown me the shadows will break. Near the creek called Wounded Knee, remember my name, Lakota. I am the final war chief. Father, my heart never defeated in battle. Father, my bones never defeated in battle. Leave them at Wounded Knee. Water sign woman. The woman who feels everything sits in her new house, waiting for someone to come who knows how to carry water without spilling, who knows why the desert is sprinkled with salt, why tomorrow is such a long and ominous word. They say to the feels things woman that little she dreams is possible, that there is only so much joy to go around, only so much water. There are no questions for this, no arguments. She has to forget to remember the edge of the sea, they say, to forget how to swim to the edge. She has to forget how to feel. The woman who feels everything sits in her new house, retaining the secret the desert knew when it walked up from the ocean. The desert, so beautiful in her eyes. Water will come again if you can wait for it. She feels what the desert feels. She waits.
Thank you, Tantoo. Max Gail has starred on stage, television, and film. He is best known for his role as Detective Stan Wojciechowicz on the sitcom Barney Miller, which earned him 2 consecutive Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series nominations. He won 2019 and 2021 Daytime Emmy Awards for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Mike Corbin on the soap opera General Hospital. Max is also a poet and a musician and a songwriter, and has been a dear friend for 30 years. Welcome, Max Gail.
Hi, everybody. I noticed that Tantoo got up and down here twice. And I was looking at it going, I don't know. So I thought, well, I'd follow my brother here and help her down, but, you know. And, you know, these 3 poems are, I mean, they're all huge. But the print is small, so I'm going to, because my eyes are doing the same thing my feet are. So, but this is called Blessing the Boats at St. Mary's. And it goes, may the tide that is entering even now, the lip of our understanding, carry out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind and then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water, water waving forever. And may you, in your innocence, sail through this to that. Just awesome. And this is titled, Some Dreams Hang in the Air. Some dreams hang in the air like smoke. Some dreams get all in your clothes and be wearing them more than you do. And you be half the time trying to hold them and half the time trying to wave them away. Their smell be all over you, and they get into your eyes, and you cry. Well, you do. The fire be gone and the wood, but some dreams hang in the air like smoke, touching everything. And this is another one of Crazy Horse. So it was wonderful that sets, because what a person. The message of Crazy Horse. I would sit in the center of the world. The black hills hooped around me and dream of my dancing horse. My wife was Black Shawl, who gave me the daughter I called They Are Afraid of Her. I was afraid of nothing, except Black Buffalo Woman. My love for her I wore instead of feathers. I did not dance. I dreamed. I am dreaming now. Across worlds, my medicine is strong. My medicine is strong in the black basket of these fingers. I come through this. Black Buffalo Woman, hear me. The hoop of the world is breaking. Fire burns in the four directions. The dreamers are running from the hills. I have seen it. I am Crazy Horse.
Thank you, Max. Isabella Gomez recurs on the hit ABC series The Goldbergs as Carmen. Among other roles, she is best known for her performance as Elena on Netflix's One Day at a Time, which earned her an Emmy-nominated Award for Best Supporting TV Actress. Isabella recently starred in the Netflix feature A Cinderella Story, A Christmas Wish. Before this, she recurred on Matador on El Rey Network. Isabella joined us for our inaugural poetry event last year, and we are delighted that she has agreed to join us this year and in person. Welcome back, Isabella.
What an honor to be asked back amongst you guys. I mean, I'm sitting there like, oh God, okay, here we go. So this first one is called Song. Sons of slaves and daughters of masters, all come up from the ocean together. Daughters of slaves and sons of masters, all ride out on the empty air. Brides and hogs and dogs and babies close their eyes against the sight. Bricks and sticks and diamonds witness a life of death is the death of life. This one's called Earth. Here is where it was dry when it rained, and also here under the same what was called tree. It bore varicolored flowers, children, bees. All this used to be a place once. All this was a nice place once. And this one's my personal favorite. It's called Daughters. Woman who shines at the head of my grandmother's bed. Brilliant woman. I like to think you whispered into her ear instructions. I like to think you are the oddness in us. You are the arrow that pierced our plain skin and made us fancy women. My wild witch gran, my magic mama, and even these gaudy girls. I like to think you gave us extraordinary power, and to protect us, you became the name we were cautioned to forget. It is enough, you must have murmured, to remember that I was and that you are. Woman, I am Lucille, which stands for light, daughter of Thelma, daughter of Georgia, daughter of dazzling you.
Our next reader, Candace Nicholas Lippman, is an actress and spoken word artist, an arts educator who can be seen reprising her lead role as Janelle in season 2 of Star's TV series Blind Spotting. Additional credits for Candace include her series guest star role as Yari on Freeform's Good Trouble, as well as her guest starring role as Kenya on ABC's Grey's Anatomy. This is her first time joining us for this celebration, where she will read one of Lucille's poems and perform one of her own. Welcome, Ms. Candace.
Hey, y'all. How everybody doing? I'm so grateful. Thank you, Miss Geena. Thank you, SAG. Thank you, Miss Sidney. I'm just grateful to be here with all these beautiful people and artists. And yes, okay, I'm nervous, so I'm stalling. Okay. So yes, I'm gonna start with one of Miss Lucille's pieces, which is always so hard to choose because your mother listened, queen. I am going to share with you guys homage to my hips. Oh, I love that reaction. These hips are big hips. They need space to move around in. They don't fit into little petty places. These hips are free hips. They don't like to be held back. These hips have never been enslaved. They go where they want to go. They do what they want to do. These hips are mighty hips. These hips are magic hips. I have known them to put a spell on a man and spin him like a top. Thank you, Miss Lucille. Thank you. And again, just thank you so much for allowing the space for me to share one of my original pieces. I'm grateful. This piece is titled, Dear Black Girl. Growing up as a kid, I hated my dark skin. And if I can be transparent, even now, as a grown woman, I have to constantly reprogram my thinking. Years of being told I was not the standard for beauty, but see, that was a lie. Which is why I chose to rewrite my own narrative. Dear Black girl, we are warriors whose spirits can't be crushed. We speak up when told we're too much. We forgive when our Black men dismiss, degrade, and can't see that we are not the ugly ducklings, but The swan princess, the Nubian goddess, the reflection of our ancestors, the made in his image. When society tries to pin light versus dark skin, we remind them that every shade of chocolate is divinely crafted. Black girl magic is more than a hashtag. It is a movement, a statement like Maxine Waters, reclaiming our power, moving through this world unapologetically, degree holding with our heads held high, melanin moisturized, big hips, thick thighs, hair free and natural or wrapped in a protective style. Dear black girl, you better recognize we are the trailblazers. Everybody wants to be us. So to all my sisters, as we continue this process of loving our skin, start with this. Look yourself in the mirror. This is me, the chocolate beauty, deserving and saying, I am queen. Dear black girl, know that y'all, we are everything. Thank you.
Y'all need a minute? Because I do. Just saying. Okay. Mark St. Cyr is an award-winning actor whose work can be seen in Fox Searchlight's The Menu, as well as series regular on High School Musical, The Series, on Disney+. He is an alumni of the ABC Talent Showcase alongside alumni like Jesse Williams, Lupita Nyong'o, and Chadwick Boseman. Mark is originally from Louisiana, has a flawless Southern accent when he wants it. These are his words. And speaks conversational French, which says to me that here's someone with an ability to connect with folks on multiple levels we just don't know about quite yet. Please welcome Mark St. Cyr.
Oh man, so jazzed up from that last poem. Trying to collect myself. That was great. Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, okay, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me. This poem is called All of Us Are All of Us. Malcolm and Martin. George. Little Emmett. Billy of the Flower Bessie. All of us are all of us. Nat, Gabriel, Denmark, Patrice, and Kwame, Marcus, Blackhampton. All of us are all of us. Step and Fetch It, Amos and Andy, Sapphire and Uncle Tom. All of us are all of us. Orangeburg, Jackson, Birmingham, here, my mama, your daddy, my daddy, your mama, ooh, all of us are all of us. And this is a poem about love. This poem is called New Bones. We will wear new bones again. We will leave these rainy days, break out through another mouth into sun and honey time. Worlds buzz over us like bees. We be splendid in new bones. Other people think they know how long life is, how strong life is. We know. God is love. No. God is love, is light, is God. No. Place here the name you give to God. Is love, is light, is. Here, the name you give to. Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, but a couple times I forgot to come up because I'm just sitting there like, wow. Okay. Oh, yes. Our final reader, Lynne Thompson, was named Poet Laureate of Los Angeles in 2021. Also, Poet Laureate Fellow of the Academy of American Poets. She's the author of 3 collections of poetry, Beg No Pardon, Start with a Small Guitar, and most recently, Fretwork, winner of the 2019 Marsh Hawk Poetry Prize. Her 4th collection, Blue on a Blue Palette, will be published by BOA Editions in the spring of 2024, also my mother's publisher. A Pushcart Prize nominee, Thompson is the recipient of multiple awards, including the Tucson Literary Festival Poetry Prize and the Stephen Dunn Poetry Prize. Thompson sits on the boards of the Poetry Foundation, Cave Canem, and the Los Angeles Review of Books. I'm privileged to present our final reader, poet Lynne Thompson.
Since I haven't starred in anything, it's a real pleasure. Yet. It's a real pleasure to be here, and especially to honor Mama Lucille, dear heart to so many poets and so many lovers of poetry. Mother tongue after the flood, the rain repeats its story until we have it by heart, always the same. Lord, in between the solitudes of birth and death, the solitudes of life will almost do us in. What the mirror said. Listen, you will wonder, you a city of a woman, you got a geography of your own. Listen, somebody need a map to understand you. Somebody need directions to move around you. Listen, woman, you are not a no-place anonymous girl. Mister with his hands on you, he got his hands on some damn body. Testament. In the beginning was the Word, the year of our Lord. Amen. I, Lucille Clifton, hereby testify that in that room there was a light, and in that light there was a voice, and in that voice there was a sigh, and in that sigh there was a world. A world, a sigh, a voice, a light, and I, alone in a room. Thank you.
We're going to just have our closing statements now. I just want to express my deepest gratitude to our extraordinary readers. Can we? Thank you. I also wanted to talk a little bit about my mother, who had many accomplishments. She won a National Book Award. She was the first poet nominated for a Pulitzer Prize for 2 different books of poetry in the same year. Yes. The first Black woman recipient of the Ruth Lilly Prize for Poetry. She was awarded the Robert Frost Medal for a lifetime achievement in poetry. But this was also not a woman without struggle and loss. This real Black woman led a real life with tragedy and triumph. She survived childhood molestation, the traumatic and sudden death of her mother a month before the birth of her first child, the agonizing death of her husband at the age of 49, the deaths of 2 children, and I want to acknowledge that today is my sister who's passed away, her birthday. She survived depression, breast cancer, dialysis, kidney transplant, and she poemed through them all. Her poetry proclaimed the possibility of a life beyond her imaginings and invited us to imagine and see what we could be when she wrote, "Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight, my other hand, come, celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed." Yes.
So Sidney, how do you feel to have this illustrious group of artists bring your mom's work to life again?
Yes, I'm honored. I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling like not worthy. I mean, all the things. This is an amazing group, and I'm just beyond thrilled, knowing how thrilled my mom would be too.
Well, and so I do want you to talk a little bit about, since you have had the Clifton House for a few years, like what's happening, what are the success stories, what may we expect coming from that, and also, because we're all about shameless promotion here, what can we all do to support you and Clifton House?
Lovely. So those who are not familiar with Clifton House, you can actually go to our website, which is thecliftonhouse.co, not .com. Don't ask me why. We just did .co. It was already taken, I think. We are, through pandemic, it was a little bit challenging. We have had pop-up virtual workshops there. Our goal is to serve underserved and underrepresented writers, artists, poets through the house in which I grew up in Baltimore. This is the house. Okay, can I tell the story really quickly?
Yes.
Really quickly, okay. So I grew up in this house in Baltimore. My mom's poetry career began there. Her first book was published, and her reputation started moving. My parents lost this house to foreclosure in 1980. And my mom had remarked that her family had never gotten over the loss of that house because it really was a haven and a sanctuary for artists and activists, because my parents were both of those things. So my mom passed away in 2010 on February 13th, which was the anniversary of her mother's passing. And in 2019, on February 13th, I woke up with this instinct to reach out to the owner of the house to see just what's the status of it. And I reached out to her, and she said, "Oh, it just went on the market today." Yeah, She's busy. Yeah. And so, although it seemed insane, I said, "Well, I must buy it." But it was a little more complicated than that. But the short story is that I did reclaim the house through lots of help and support through my family's right here too. I thought I was just going to have it. The reclamation of that was a miracle enough. And then when I started thinking about what the house was when I was growing up, I said, this house has to be that again. It wants to be that. So I established the Clifton House as a sanctuary where we're going to run workshops and have training, et cetera, for emerging writers, artists, and activists, and people who are sort of walk that intersection. So did that right before pandemic, so we didn't have anything in person for a while. But now that things are opening up again, we're doing some renovations on the house, and we had our first in-person full-day workshop in October, and it was extraordinary. So there'll be more in-person workshops there. You can also check the website, which is in renovations, also like the house, to look at a schedule of upcoming workshops and events. But I'm also really want to encourage people who want to work with us to reach out through the website, or I'll blatantly talk about my email is sydney@thecliftonhouse.co. We want to spread the word. We want this to be a place that is in person, but also virtual, where people can feel the safety of this community that is both local and national. So just more of the same, and more of those kinds of things that be serving underserved folks, but also teaching people how to own their narrative. So not only the craft of their work, but actually the business of their work. Yes. So that people understand that this is not, you're not work for hire, you are actually the owner of your creative output.
Bravo.
Yes.
So Sidney, I want to bring Max into this conversation, and I guess you've known each other for a long, long time.
We have. Is it possible to raise the house lights a little bit so we can see who we're talking to? Anyway, if you can do it. Anyway, yeah, Sidney, years ago, Sidney sent me a script that she had written that was very prescient, actually, called Cafe Cruise. And I won't go off into that, but it was wonderful. And we communicated, and the time came where I was on my way up from LA to San Francisco and stopped by, and Sidney came to the door, you know, beautiful and bright and all that. And behind her were two huge ebony sculptures, and behind them was a photograph of just a beautiful man and her father. And time came, we became friends, and there was a time, and I just want to share this. We were on the front porch of my place at the time, and at that point I was like a widower with a 3.5-year-old or something like that, I think Indy was, I had in my mind that maybe there was some responsibility I had to where that all came from, and your mom said, well, my husband never drank or smoked or any of that, and I did whatever I wanted, and he died of lung cancer, and I just figured there. And I remember she threw her arms up in the air. There are some things in this lifetime I am just not going to understand, and that healed me right there. So I have those kinds of feelings, so I'm so thankful to be here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. So, Candace, there's this great quote. You say, "Let your art change the world."
Yes.
So tell us how you're doing that.
Just by being myself and telling my stories. Yes.
You can expound on that. You have your book. I love this title, Purpose in Poetry, Volume 3.
Yes.
Yes.
So, y'all, I have spoken word books, poetry books. I actually just released a spoken word album this past July. I'm really proud of myself with that. And it's available everywhere. And in fact, y'all, afterwards, if you feel like taking a little trip up the street, I'm featuring tonight at the Poetry Lounge, where I'll be sharing pieces from my spoken word album.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here with us. And what was it like for you to encounter and embody the work of Lucille Clifton tonight?
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. I do believe another one of my favorite artists is Nina Simone, and she one of my favorite quotes of hers is actually in my book. I quote her, "It's an artist's duty to reflect the times." And I feel like Miss Lucille, not only did she express her own story, she also reflected and used her voice in areas that needed to be where we needed to hear, you know, and I'm very big on that as an artist. You know, what is the purpose? What is the message? Why am I doing what am I doing? What am I putting out into the world? And I feel like what she left here onto the world is just glorious, you know, and it is needed, and it is something, I believe someone said it's timeless. Like, her pieces will forever, you know, from decades from now be relevant, they will resonate from people. And I also feel like a lot of her work is very universal, you know, where everyone can relate to them. They can find a piece of themselves in some of her work, and that makes an amazing artist. So she's amazing.
Well, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So, Tantoo, you have dedicated yourself to helping reshape the narrative on Indigenous characters, helping mentoring Indigenous filmmakers. So can you talk a little bit and share with some of the work that you've been doing?
I primarily listened to the wind and accepted the work that was put in front of me. And at first I worked from a place of rage and then found it to be inadequate. So, and I met Max on that trail, on that path, and what Max gathered around him was a real openness in the people that were there at Max's place, at his camp, or what was that? And so it was a great place of kind of rinsing through ideas that had come and landed and stayed and were obstructive because they were obsessive. And the history of what's been done to our people is enough to keep you busy, you know? And how do you unpack it? And where is everybody that knows this? And there were some people around Max that knew. And it was so helpful to be able to, because after a while, you know, I was just so enraged that people would kind of stay away, you know? They didn't really want to be too close. It's like I was the abyss. And so now I've come to a place where, wow, it's rolling on its own. There's so many people out there that know that story and are taking care of business. So I've had the time, and I've started a school in my home community. It's called Taproot Actors Academy.
Wow.
And the idea being, everybody is so looking out there for their statement or for their examples of what can be done, because we come from that place of genocide. We come from that place of colonialism. And we've been covered with a blanket that doesn't want anybody to know that in our language, in my language that I grew up with, Cree, one of the languages that I grew up with, the word for fire is made up of two words. You say escoteo, and that's fire. Two words. First word is esco, woman. Mete, heart. Fire is woman's heart. And the stories go on to talk about the fire at the core of Mother Earth. That's why we were outlawed. We didn't work for the gross national product. So that's where I come from. and I wanted these kids to know, and there was too much of this going into our community, spending a weekend maybe, and at the most a week, go in and touch the kids with art and expression and maybe make a film and share some of their art, but then they're gone. And I grew up in a bush community. And so my school stays in the community. We don't have a building yet, but The idea being, because we come, what genocide and colonialism does is it tries to destroy love. And how you destroy love is you destroy families and you destroy communities. So that's what we're digging ourselves out of. And so we're needing into the community. We have parents, we have guardians, we have foster parents, and we have stories. So that's the assignment. You find the stories in your community, in your families, and down the road, or in your house, or in your own world, and you make these stories from your own self. I'll stop now. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this moment and to meet your mama's words and her thoughts and her ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Nicco, speaking of fire, you said, I feel like I've been through this fire because I've been trusted with a testimony. Growing up, I didn't see myself, but I knew that there was something else inside me as an actor, as a person. Can you talk about a little bit more about your feelings about that? You've talked about connecting your cultural identity with your artistic voice.
You went there for that. Yes. It's true, though. It's very true. One of the things that I feel very blessed about in this moment as an artist, and in this time, even being here tonight, it starts off with me with spirit. You know, when I was reading the poems, trying to select which ones I would read tonight, I felt, you used the word timeless. I felt just a familiar feeling. I felt connection, and I was familiar with your mom's writing, but I didn't study, you know, in long, in depth and things like that. But to be a part, as an artist, to be a part of things that have a purpose and that are speaking to the places where there is confusion or where there's misunderstanding, I feel is very, 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 it's honorable and it's a blessing, because there's so much of this, of Hollywood, that can be, as an actor, that can be merely just for entertainment, right? And there's value there. There's absolute value there, because take me away from the madness, take me away from the responsibilities. But to be a part of something tonight, and in the work when I had said that quote, like thinking about P-Valley, doing a role in a world where all of these people, all these marginalized communities are looked at with turned up noses and a forgotten eye. And to be able to give dignity to the cornrows that have history, you know, to be able to be portray a non-binary character with full human breath. When I read the Bible, I read about eunuchs. When I see films, I see people in ancient times portrayed that were in the space of two-spirited people. I see, and I learned along the way in so many different cultures, and I just asked the question, when did it become demonized to be who you are, whoever that may be? But you know, sometimes people take away the space because they themselves don't want to do that work or go on that journey. As you say, listen to the wind, because baby, it will talk to you. So that fire came from spirit.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Isabella, you're back with us again, so thank you so much. And for those of you who may not know, and almost similar to Geena, Isabella announced that when she was like 4 or 5 years old, she wanted to be an actor. Because as Geena says, it always works out. But I want to pick up on some of the words that Nicco said. You know, humanity, purpose, dignity. And that's clearly what you did, especially with your role with Elena and everything, One Day at a Time, and everything else that you've been doing forward. And you know, you're one of our younger artists. So talk to us a little bit about how you're using your voice and for your activism, and you're here tonight, and your impression of being here live. Last year you were virtual.
I'm so glad to be here in person. Thank God. Hi, humans. You know, what's really interesting is I've been very, very lucky. Somehow it did just work out for me, which is it is not lost on me how lucky I am. And through One Day at a Time and through all of these experiences, I've gotten to be ushered into this world of artistry by people who were so willing and able to give me space and to allow me to learn at my rate and to help me find my passions. And so it's funny because I'm going to throw Mark under the bus. Mark and I know each other. We go to acting class together. And we were sitting here being like, what are we doing here? Like, these people are incredible. And the thing is, you know, I've gotten to work with Norman Lear and Rita Moreno and Justina Machado and all these incredible people who treated me as an equal and treated me as an artist and treated me as somebody who had something to bring to the table. And growing in that kind of environment, and even here, just like being able to sit in this space with people who I'm obsessed with every single one of you, truly. I was just sitting there being like, oh my God, who are y'all? And can I not read my poems? I don't want to do that. Even in this space, there is such a sense of community and of openness and a lack of judgment that I think is exactly what art is supposed to be. And like you said, like sometimes entertainment is what we need. And I've been, you know, as an actor, most of what you do is entertainment. I always say, like, people are like, oh, what drew you to the role? And I say, it's a job. So that's why I took it. But then every once in a while, you get to do something that sets your soul on fire and brings new light into your world and teaches you that there is so much more to learn and so much more connection to be found. And so that's just kind of what I've been trying to do in a way that is not, I felt a lot of pressure, and sometimes still do, of like the right way to do it, and how do I be a role model, and how do I represent my community. And at the time, One Day at a Time was one of the few Latinx shows on TV, and my character was queer, which was kind of unheard of. And I was like, how do I be the perfect person? And it's through art and through artists who have touched me and have shepherded me into who I am today that I've realized that there is no perfect way, and that is what it's supposed to be. And so I am trying to be imperfectly the best version of myself and try to give representation where I can, and then give, you know, the mic to whoever I can when it's not me that should be talking, which is often and now. So I'm gonna stop.
Thank you so much for that. So Lynne, how did you go from law to poetry?
Not very easily. And I can hear my mother saying, oh, Jesus. What is wrong with you? But you know, it was a fire in the belly. We've talked a lot about fire, and I had been writing since I was a young girl. And your mom just was one of the people who said to me, just do you. Just do you. So, and taught me, I think I thought that poetry maybe wasn't something I couldn't get to because, oh, those people over there. And I just want to tell this quick story about your mom, which is one of my favorites. She, in addition, she was on the one hand this absolutely brilliant, fierce, ferocious, loving woman, and so down to earth. So the first time I met her was in New Jersey at the Dodge Poetry Festival. And there was a big tent, and a bunch of us were sitting in there. And she had a walking stick. And somebody said, oh, Miss Clifton, that's such a beautiful walking stick. Did you get it on your travels in Africa? She said, girl, I got this at the Kmart. And I just thought, just you know, she was so unpretentious and just so down. She said, "Please, girl, I got this at the Kmart." I never forgot that. You know, if you have a passion for something, and I tell students this, you don't, I mean, generations ago, maybe you had a job for 30 years and that was because of those times. You can, whatever you are on Monday, you don't have to be that on Friday. You can be something else. So I made my parents happy, practiced law for 15 years, and then announced I was going to be a poet.
And we're so blessed that you have. So, so Mark, we are in the house of SAG-AFTRA, and you are not only an actor, you're a director, you've directed a lot of off-Broadway plays, but I saw this really cool video, which I thought would be very relevant for this group, and you talk about the moment before and mentoring.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So at one time, I felt like I made a deal with the power that be, whatever you want to call it, the name that you want to call it. But I made this deal where I was crying in Harlem after some auditions, and I felt like I had no idea where I was going, and I started just talking out loud, and I filmed it. It's like on my phone, me just crying. I was like, look, if you just show me how to get there, man, I'll tell everybody else. Like, just please. Like, I have no idea how to get there, and no one's telling me, and I feel like it's this big secret. And if you could just give me a freaking clue, I will do my best to like write the map for the people coming after me. And that was that video that I made on YouTube was one of the ways I've been trying to write the map for people in the ways that I can. And so I made this video about the moment before, which is like an acting moment. But yeah, the thing, tonight I'm really like listening for what the next assignment is supposed to be. And this has been a really lovely night for that. I feel like I was talking to him this week because I always talk when I feel a little bit lost. I'm like, hey, look, just, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but please guide me, help me. And I feel like tonight I got a lot of instructions. I feel like I got a way to deal with my fire when my fire's consuming me and I'm not feeling it. Like, I got through your mother's work. I kind of could, when they sent the document of her poetry, and it was 600 something pages long. I said, 804.
It was 804.
I said, what?
I love it.
And when you started describing all the things that your mother was going through in her life and how she kept putting it out and kept working through her poetry all throughout it, I was like, oh, okay, so that's one part of the assignment is even when I'm in my darkness, keep putting something out, right? Right. And then from you today, I got this. I need to write an homage to the parts of myself that I'm struggling with. Do you know what I mean? I was like that, like the homage to my hips and Dear Black Girl. I was like, yo, can I write to myself? Like, what can I write a love letter? Because I feel like I need one. So let me go ahead and get that. So tonight I've just been listening for the instructions, and I'm really grateful to be here. So thank you for allowing me to be here and sharing this and get the instructions through community and through this family. So thank you.
It's a privilege. Thank you so much. So, Sidney, any final words? Anything? Well, first of all, we all want to support you. So please, everyone, please pay attention to everyone's, social media that they have and their books and their poems. And we're happy to share all that with you. But Sidney, what is this evening meant for you? And what would you like to see happen moving forward? And what are we doing next year?
Right. And where are we doing it? Yeah. This is just the validation. This is a yes. This evening was a yes for me and for everyone. So I now feel connected with everybody, and even the people whose faces I can't see, including my friend who I went to high school with is out here. Yeah, what? Hey, Niecy. So, but I think what I would love to see is all of us continue with this kind of connection and community, and selfishly, I would say, go to the Clifton House website. There's a donate page there, donate tab there, if you so choose. But also, let's continue to connect, because this is sort of the seed of a movement. It feels like, right, yes, right. And I hope everyone felt that, because I certainly did. Gratitude is also like the overarching thing. Gratitude.
Thank you for that. So we do have some food and beverage. Jasmine, somewhere out in a hallway somewhere? All right, so we can have a chance to continue the conversation. I want to thank our esteemed group of artists. For those of you who are a member, thanks for supporting us. If you're not, this is what you're going to get from us, so please consider being a member, and we can talk more in the hallway. Thank you.